Hey, it's Brad, and boy, am I happy you're here. If this is your first time, I'm really glad you found us. You're not going to be disappointed. And if you've been here before, welcome back. This is Pain to Performance. Let's jump into today's conversation. Let me say something that might stop you for a second. If your body hurts, if your energy feels gone, if you wake up tired even after sleeping, that does not mean something is wrong with you. I want you to hear that again. That does not mean something is wrong with you. It means your system is responding to the inputs it's been given. And I know this sentence might feel unfamiliar because most people were taught something extremely different. They were taught to blame themselves. Now, I want you to imagine this episode as not a podcast. It is just a conversation between me and you. Not the version of you that is productive, not the version of you that holds it together, the version of you that wonders quietly, why does everything feel harder than it used to? If that thought has crossed your mind recently, keep listening, because nothing about what you are experiencing is random. Let me tell you why I care so deeply about this. Okay, so I work with people every single week who believe their bodies have just absolutely betrayed them. And these people aren't lazy. They're not disengaged. They're definitely not weak. They're high functioning adults who did what they were told. They worked hard. They pushed through. They ignored the signals. And then one day something stopped cooperating. The pain showed up. Their fatigue showed up. Burnout happened. And no one explained why. Here's something that completely changes how you see pain. Pain is not a direct measure of tissue damage. It is not a photograph of what's happening inside your body either. But pain is an output of your nervous system. Your brain is always constantly scanning your body and your environment, asking one simple question. Is this safe? That's it. That's the question. Sleep deprivation increases pain sensitivity. Chronic stress increases pain sensitivity. Fear increases pain sensitivity. Uncertainty increases pain sensitivity. Now, this isn't motivational talk, people. This is neuroscience. Your body is not malfunctioning. It's protecting you. Now, I want you to pause for a second. Think about the last time something hurt or just felt off. Okay, so how quickly did your mind jump to the worst case scenario? How quickly did fear enter the picture? That fear matters more than you realize. It matters more than you realize because that fear is what's protecting you. Now, let me introduce you to someone. We'll call him Mark. Okay, so Mark is 39 years old. He works an extremely demanding job. He sits more than he wants to admit, and he used to be active. Sounds like most of us, right? But Mark's back started hurting one day. Now, he didn't have an accident. It wasn't from some big moment in his life either. Just one morning. So Mark chooses to ignore it. Then he powers through it, and he Googles it. And now Mark is scared. Now he believes his spine is fragile. Now every moment feels risky. Now his body just feels unpredictable. Here's the important part. Mark's pain gets worse. Not because his back is damaged, but because his nervous system is now operating in protection mode. No one ever explained this to Mark. They just told him to stretch or rest or just simply accept it, right? And the story you believe determines how you behave. Okay, I want to say that one more time for you. The story you believe determines how you behave. If you believe your body is fragile, you're going to move less. If you believe pain equals damage, you panic. If you believe decline is inevitable, you stop investing. So this is not a motivation problem. This is just simply an information problem. Most people do not need more discipline. They need better explanations. Performance is not pushing harder either, you guys. Like, news flash, it is not you pushing harder. Performance is just simply understanding the system well enough to respond intelligently. So let's talk about high performers for a minute, okay? How many of us have a high performer in our life? Maybe you're a high performer. Maybe we think we're a high performer. Now, they read signals differently. High performers don't ignore the signals. They read them differently and accurately. They adjust, they adapt, they build capacity. That capacity applies to your body. It applies to your work. It ultimately just applies to your life in general. Now, let's talk about high performers and pain signals. So inside of my practice, what I have noticed is a lot of high performers coming in and saying, I'm realizing something is wrong and I don't know how to fix it. I've gone here, I've gone there, I've got the x-ray, I've got the MRI, I've seen all of the specialists, and everybody is telling me I'm okay. I'm lost. What do I do? And I tell them, okay, let's break this down very simply. Let's take it down to the most simple perspective. And that perspective is, when did it start? And they'll start to think about it. And then I challenge that. And I say, okay, did we just wake up one day and this started happening? Or has this been a slow culmination of things over time? And they start thinking back, and then they start realizing, oh, wow, this wasn't just me waking up. This has been a consistent pattern for a while. And I'm not saying that non-high performers don't have the ability to recognize these types of signals. But what I'm saying is high performers do tend to adjust and adapt and build capacity a little bit faster than those who just simply aren't. And what I have found is those high performers that come into my office, they see such a more rapid progress. And the reason why is because they believe that they're going to get better, right? They understand that the story you believe determines how you behave. And what they've started to understand and realize through all of this work that we've done is that pain, it is inevitable, but there is something we can do about it, whether that be physically, emotionally, psychologically. There's all types of pain in this world. And what we have the ability to do is to be able to actually interact with it rather than ignore it. And that's how things get better. You realize and you say, oh, I actually need this help, right? So at this period of time, if we're going to talk about the fact that you're not falling apart, you're just responding exactly as you've been designed, I think there's no better way than to explain that. And it's simply just this, everybody. It's simply the fact that you can recognize it. Then that next step is actually moving forward and doing something about it. Like my parents always told me, they said, Brad, you can continue to complain about something only for so long until you decide to fix it. I've had so many people come into my office and say, I have done everything that's possible, and I still feel like this. I'm broken. I'm never going to get better. And that is the moment that I stop them immediately and say, whoa, this is a very negative feedback loop and a very, very, very skinny plank that you're walking on. We have to change that internal dialogue first, because if you believe you're not going to get better, you just simply aren't. You're just not going to. You're always going to find the hole rather than the filler. You're always going to end up having those issues simply for the fact that you just don't want to get rid of them. Some people are actually psychologically addicted to their pain. Did you know that? Some people are actually psychologically addicted to it. It's been a part of them for so long that they don't know what to do without it. Like, I am sure you can think about somebody in your life right now. And I'm sure maybe 2 or 3 of them. 4 or 5 people come to my mind right now. And what I want you to do is send them this episode. Send them this episode and get them to understand that what it is they believe is how they're going to feel. What it is they tell themselves is how they're going to act. And I'm sorry, I know this sounds very blunt, but it's real. It's true. And until we understand that, we are never, ever, ever going to be able to move forward in any form of a recovery. Our pain's going to stay there. Our performance is going to be low. And once we decide to actually make that change, then yeah, sure, there's going to have to be a lot of shadow work or like that inner child work that we're going to have to do to figure out why. Because if we don't know the why, then we can't fix this. So once we start moving through those steps, we go to therapy, whether that be mental, psychological, physical, whatever it is. As long as we take that first step, we're going to be able to proceed forward. We're going to become pain-free. We're going to end up being a little bit more productive. We have these capabilities. And I come here today to have that conversation with you to say, stop telling yourself that you're broken. Stop telling yourself that you're never going to get better. Because ultimately, right now, the biggest problem is you. And you have to start believing that you can make these changes. Because if you don't, you're never going to get better. So I'm going to end with this. If you feel triggered, good. If you feel angry, good. Go do something with it. Stop telling yourself and giving yourself the excuses. Start performing. Take that pain, turn it into performance. Okay? Just your friend Brad here telling you, stop complaining. Everybody in your life is sick and tired of hearing it. I hate to tell you this, but it's true. Everybody hates it. And I understand it's so easy to be a broken record. Let me tell you this. I have been a broken record so much in my lifetime. I still am. And let's be honest, guys, it's so much easier to give advice than take it. I get that. I totally understand that. But what I'm saying is that you have to start making changes to the pattern if you expect something to change later on down the road. Okay? So if this episode made you feel calmer instead of fired up, that was definitely unintentional. I meant to fire you up today. Because clarity creates relief, and relief creates trust. And trust ultimately allows change. So remember, you are not broken. You are adaptive. And once you understand the system, you stop fighting yourself. Okay, so stay with me, guys. This is Pain to Performance, and I'm really glad you're here. Before we take off, one quick housekeeping thing. This podcast is for education and conversation only. I'm in no way a licensed therapist, doctor, wizard, and this show is not a substitute for care from a qualified professional. If something today made you think of someone you know, go ahead and do them a favor and send this episode their way. Pain is rarely a solo experience, and a good conversation is better shared. And if you're enjoying the show, make it official. Follow, subscribe, leave a review. It helps more than you realize and keeps this conversation going. Remember, the hardest part of Pain to Performance is learning how to listen. Now, I'll be here, same place, next play, and I can't wait to welcome you in.